Most strategic plans are dead within 6 weeks of being written. It's not because the vision was wrong, it's because the timeline was too long. When you give yourself 12 months to achieve a goal, your brain knows it has permission to procrastinate today, and so you drift. You slip back into operator mode. And if you're running a recruitment agency, this looks like slipping back into billing trap, where you're the highest paid consultant on the floor instead of the CEO. Now, in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to show you how to compress your 12-month goals. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Toye Oshunbiyi. I'm the founder of Business Leaders Coach, but my background is right in the trenches with you. I've spent many years in Ex-SThree training over 2,000 leaders in the recruitment and search industry. I specialize in one specific outcome, working and helping agency founders escape the billing trap where you are stuck doing the deals, and I help you build a self-managing business that grows without your constant intervention. And you are going to get a taste of the methodology I use today. Let's start with the problem we are actually solving. I call it the architect's dilemma. You wake up with a clear vision. You tell yourself, today is the day I'm going to work on the business. Today, I'm going to map out that new commission structure. Today, I hire that senior consultant. Today, I'll move the business forward. But by 11 a.m., the world has intervened. A key client threatens to pull a retainer. A candidate ghosts an interview. Your top biller has a meltdown. Your inbox explodes, and without even realizing it, you've slipped out of architect mode and back into operator mode. Now, the problem isn't your willpower. It's that you are trying to run a complex modern business without documented systems. This system failure is often caused by the work-life fracture. Hustle culture tells us to treat our personal life and our business as competing enemies. But here's the profound truth. You cannot build a sustainable business on an unsustainable life. You see, if your business is growing, but you're burning out, your team will feel that stress because it impacts your culture and your resilience. Recently, Dal shared something profound about this on LinkedIn. After implementing this protocol, he said the real victory was building a profitable business and a great team culture in a way of working that doesn't come at the expense of his well-being. That is the ultimate goal. Now, to fix this, we use two mechanisms, compression and integration. We compress our timelines into 91-day cycles to create true urgency, but more importantly, we integrate. We stop managing work and start managing the whole leader. We acknowledge that your relationships, your health, and your finances are all interconnected engines that power your leadership. And so if one engine fails, the plane goes down. Now, most planning systems work outside in. What do you want to have is a question that is normally asking. While we work inside out, who do you need to be? You see, you cannot build a sophisticated business with an unsophisticated character. Let me tell you about another client I worked with, Kevin Jarvis, the founder of Hire with Jarvis. We worked through some massive transitions. See, he was moving his company from fully in office during COVID to a fully remote work from anywhere model that required a massive brand shift and operational changes. But more importantly, we had to redefine how they functioned as an organization, exploring his leadership approach, which evolved to matching their new strategic direction and values. And as Kevin recently noted, this inside-out perspective is what helps guide him, and if it will guide you and your business to that elusive next level. Because your character is portable, it travels with you into every room. Now, if your chosen identity, for instance, is to be present, you cannot be hyper-focused in the boardroom, but then be distracted at the dining table. We have to look at stages or categories in life, and we found 7 most important stages that most people will agree are important for them. And so we have to look at all 7 stages that we live on. And you notice how distinctly these define your human connections, your intimacy with your partner, your active role in your family, and your relationships with your network. See, you must ensure none of these vital human connections are being neglected to the point of failure. And so we use the strategic cascade to connect your 10-year vision down to your daily actions. But let's make this real with an identity audit. So let's take a character quality that perhaps you need to embody, like courage. Don't just leave it as a vague business concept. We would then ask you to ask yourself, if I am a person of courage, what is the one brave conversation that I need to have with my business partner, with my direct report, with my shareholders, with my spouse, with my partner, with my teammate, whatever it is this week? And what this does is that this forces you to turn a professional buzzword into a profound relational action. This takes us into the week 13 pit stop, because 91 days is 13 weeks. And so week 13 is your pit stop. You stop doing the work to design the work. When you look backward over the last quarter, which is the last 12 weeks, I want you to measure your character growth, and you can ask yourself, who did I become to my team, to my family, to my direct reports, to my clients? Somebody that I've trained over the years, Ryan, mentioned recently that this protocol was instrumental in his transition from a sales manager to a business manager. That transition is entirely about stepping back, taking a pit stop, learning and shifting your identity from an operator who sells to a leader who builds. When you plan the next quarter, which is the next 13 weeks, you use the rule of 3. Now, we talk about this. It's about selecting a maximum of 3 most important goals. And this is research that comes from Franklin Covey, where they discovered that the moment you make more than 3 most important goals, you're most likely not going to achieve all of them. It simply just reduces the averages. And so we encourage you to select 3 most important goals during the 91-day phase, and we will call them rocks. Now, these rocks are to cut across any category. So a rock doesn't just have to be the business metric. It could be taking your family on a specific trip. It could be repairing a fractured relationship. It could be in any other category as well as your business. So it's to make you think holistically. And when you do that, everything else is just sand that fits around the people and priorities that matter most. Now, to ensure that you don't drift, you need a weekly review using a dual engine scorecard. Now, what this dual engine scorecard will still help you do, it will still help you focus on all areas of your life. So even though you've made those 3 areas the most important goal, you're still giving yourself access to see all the other areas. And so you must score both your life and your business based on binary, practical questions. So don't just ask, was I a good parent? You can ask, did I have dinner at home 3 times this week without my phone? That's a good way of categorizing. Did I meet up with my spouse this week? Did I spend time with my direct report? These are specific questions that's going to help you to categorize, Am I moving the needle in all these areas without you feeling overwhelmed? So if your lead generation is bright green, but your life is in the red, then you're failing slowly. Now, if your life is bright green and your business is in the red, same thing. We're giving equal perspective in these areas because they are all important. All right. But at the same time, you know that at the end of it all, if we were to say which one is more important, 9 times out of 10, nobody wants to spend more time in the office. There's a saying, isn't it? Nobody on their deathbed says, I wish I spent more time in the office, right? And so what we have found at Business Leaders Coach working with founders is that we tend to forget the people that matter most. And so this exercise always helps you to keep that in focus. So next, we then go into the planning of the week. We plan the week using the 4 P's. And the very first P is people. Well, why is that the case? Because leadership is about people, not tasks. You see, when Dal, my client, and I implemented this, we focus heavily on role clarity and structure because he got the processes out of his head and onto paper. And his team suddenly knew exactly what they were responsible for. And what was the result? He created a structured environment where people had accountability, a sense of collaboration, and the space to actually flourish. And so once you have your priorities, they go on the calendar. And so the golden rule is, if it's not on the calendar, it's just a wish. Commitment, time and place, right? Place your relational and business rocks first and never try to squeeze them in after the sand and the admin and the emails, because they're the ones that are going to steal your time. So the war is won today through the 5 daily habits. The most critical of our 5 daily habits is the first, which is think. The most dangerous thing that you can do is look at your phone first thing in the morning and then prioritize other people's emergencies over your own. So before you consume the chaos, connect and ask, who do I need to be today to serve my mission? And then you can ground yourself in your identity before you engage with the world. And when the red mist of stress hits you during the day, then what it is that you risk taking it out on your team or carrying it home. So let me just give you one of the protocols. You can see this protocol A, which is starter mode to deal with procrastination, and protocol B, the reset button. And what you simply do, because we always have these challenges during the day, how do I execute on what is important to me? How do sometimes I just get overwhelmed. What do I need to do in that moment? Well, this is the reset protocol. And how do you do that? You physically stop and relax. You can breathe in, which helps you to take back the faculties of your brain. And then you can recall your identity as a calm, strategic leader, and then step back into the arena with intention rather than reacting emotionally and damaging your relationships. Before we wrap up, I want to remind you what is possible when you actually implement this. A year ago, Dal didn't think it was achievable to detach from his business. Today, because of this system, he can take a day off or go on holiday knowing the business is fully operational and doesn't need him every minute of the day. Kevin also used this exact system to equip his senior team with the tools to lead effectively through massive organizational change. This isn't theory, it's a proven architecture for scaling. And in one of Kevin's posts on LinkedIn very recently, he said it was the best decision he ever made. The amateur sacrifices their life and the people in it for the business. But the professional builds a business that actually fuels their life and their relationship. And you are the architect. This is the reason why I'm using this phrase, the architect. You can see that a lot of what I create is to remind you that you can design this. You have the power to design a life where you are not just successful in the boardroom, in business, but deeply connected at the dinner table. So I want to encourage you to start your first 91 days today. And how you can do that, we've covered the theory. You know you need compression. You know you need the rule of 3. Now you have 2 options. Option 1, you can take these notes, open a blank document, and try to build this system yourself. You can design your own planner and hope you got the psychology right. Option 2, you can download the exact system that I use. I've packaged everything that we've discussed into the 91 Day Focus Protocol. It includes the implementation manual and the printable 91 Day Focus tools, the exact daily templates that I use to protect my time. You got the chaos audit, the diagnostic. It costs only £47. For a recruitment founder, that's less than 20 minutes of your billable time. It will save you 10 hours of wasted admin every single week. So you can click the link below this video, download it, print the planner, start your first 91-day cycle tomorrow morning. Go to the link, stop drifting, start architecting, and I look forward to hearing from you. Speak to you soon.